Well, we're deep into the throes of winter now, that's for sure. It's been minus 20 something every morning for the last little while. I got some frozen hardwood here I'm going to put together in some bundles for our rental store. I've only got a few bundles to make them. I try to keep their inventory up to the best of my ability. I drive by and I see that the rack is empty, so I'll fill it back up. And this time of year, I'm not sure who buys bundles this time of year, but they need to put them inside and thaw them out. It takes a couple of days, but this wood is a couple of years old. These are logs that I would have saved, the oversized logs from my firewood production. And I put them aside, sometimes for years. We split them. I never guarantee moisture content, but these logs are dry enough. They'll burn, for sure. Especially if the power goes out, and that's all you have right now. That's going to be just great. I need a small-ish piece. Maybe that piece there. These make for big bundles. 1 1/3 cubic foot bundles is what this makes. A homemade bundler. Put a couple extra wraps on it this time of year when it's cold, because when these bundles dry, they will definitely shrink. I take softwood over to those guys as well. They sell a lot of softwood. Sometimes a couple of dozen a week they'll sell. In the summertime, they sell it for ambiance wood. Some people would call it drinking wood. But they will have a few dozen bundles there all the time. That bundle's too big. That bundle's too small. That bundle's just right. I got lots to do today. I'm trying to gear up a way that I can charge my Blue Eddy up in my green truck, my 1-ton Ram, my 3500. And I think I'm going to put another DC to DC charger in there. The reason is I want to leave that truck up by the side of the road where my firewood processor is, instead of having to bring it down and unhook the trailer. And I want to be able to plug it in for an hour or two in the mornings. Minus 20 or so. It will start, but boys, it protests. So much easier on everything when it's plugged in warm. So that's my plan today. I want to gear that up. I've got a couple of them. I've got a Blue Eddy Charger 2, which I want to save for my next camper build. I got a Blue Eddy Charger 1, which is in my camper, my present camper. And I have a Bouge RV 60 amp. I've done some work before with Bouge RV. And they were a great company to deal with. We've put solar panels on another camper van and solar charge controller from those guys. And they make a solid product. So there's supposed to be another snowstorm coming tomorrow. And I've upgraded my snow removal from the bucket and the blower to a blade. I bought a power angle blade for the front of my tractor for moving this snow. Should make a lot of difference. I plowed snow commercially for a lot of years when I was much younger. That's a young man's game. Now when the snow comes, I just want to stay home or go to my camp or something. But I had 75 driveways and a couple commercial lots to plow, and it seems like everybody had to get, you got to make sure I'm first. And I said, the way I used to work it, I used to live on a loop, and I would turn left out the driveway one morning and I turn right out the driveway the next storm, and that way not everybody's going to be first. The guy in the middle, he's just always going to be in the middle. There's nothing I can do about it. But there's a little bit of poplar in these bundles. What do you guys feel about poplar in your bundles? Won't be a whole bundle of poplar, but there'll be 2 or 3 pieces in each one maybe. Nice and dry though. Dry, like less than 20% dry. You know, I still get calls for people looking for dry wood. They've run out of wood, or they didn't buy enough, or they forgot it was going to be winter again, or they see this big black box in their living room and they wake up one morning and they wonder, how in the heck am I going to feed that thing? I don't understand. So, my wife, she worked at Dalhousie University in the Department of Pharmacology for her entire career. And I remember looking at her desk one time, she had a little saying on a little plaque. It says, "Poor planning on your behalf does not constitute an emergency on mine." And sometimes I want to reach out to some of these customers that I've got to have wood, but it's got to be ready to burn today. In the province of Nova Scotia, we do not have an industry that sells bulk wood that you can burn today. There are a couple of companies that sell dry wood, but boys, you want to have deep pockets. Because it's a lot of labor. I have no problem at all. I think it's got to charge, I mean, you've got to get $1,000 a cord for a cord of dry wood. Sell it by the cord. I was selling green wood. He wasn't doing it this year because he's got some staffing issues, which I think every business right now has. And he was, but he's going to ramp back up next year. And he was selling wood for $2.25 a cord plus delivery. And he'd have people that would complain about the price. The wood is kiln dried. It's ready to burn today. The only other way you can get around that is buy your wood in the summer, season it yourself, like I do. I put that wood in my wood shed. My wood is put away in the summer, and I have a full cord put away from the previous year. So I make sure, for sure, that I've got enough dry wood to see me through. And I get the odd situation, perhaps, that somebody finds themselves in, that they just move into a house and they were supposed to have had wood there delivered, or the wood that's there is green, something like that. I understand that. So my little tractor's in the way to get the truck backed up here. But it's plugged in, so it'll start. It was beautiful last night, so I didn't mind leaving it out. That's how I lose those microphones. The magnet sticks to the metal. I've lost a couple of the magnets, but I've never lost a microphone yet. Still let the glow plug cycle. Like a hot summer day. It's actually not that cold this morning. It's minus 14.2 when I came out about 20 minutes ago. So this is wood that otherwise I'd have to pay somebody else to block up. So this here, actually I blocked this up myself, split it the other day. put it in the buggy, and that allows us to have something to do in the snowstorm that's coming up on the weekend too. You can always bring in a couple of dozen bundles worth of wood and bundle it up to make sure that your time is pensionable. I'm still using the split fire 3255 double action splitter. For my purposes, it's working just great. I've been using also the standalone range road conveyor to fill my trailer with some of the oversized stuff as well when I split it. That saves my poor shoulders, that's for sure. Of all of the trucks that I have, this one here is the most handy. This is 2002. This started its life as a Jetta four-door sedan, and I did this kit conversion over 10 years ago now. It's a Smythe Ute kit made in Massachusetts, and I bought one of the very first kits that they had to offer, and it turns your Jetta or Golf. They got lots of other vehicles too they support. But, all right, let's go deliver them. Bundles are delivered. That was the first thing on my to-do list that I had to do today. With a storm coming, I like to make sure that the rental place not far from here, that's 4J's Rental, by the way, if you guys want to look after his business a little bit, if you're local and need bundles. He's got should have 37 bundles right now. Not a lot, but enough to get people through the storm. And he's got softwood and hardwood as well as kindling. He's probably got a couple of dozen bundles of kindling there. But anyway, he's a great guy to deal with. And if you need hardware or rent a piece of staging or a piece of equipment, or he was a concrete worker, so he knows the tools that he wants to, that you need to do your job. So anyway, it wasn't a commercial for 4J's Rental, but they're a great asset to this little community. This is my current iteration right now for snow removal. This is my 2018 2025R John Deere tractor. And I use this every single day. It has almost 1,400 hours on it now. I have a 52-inch Lucknow blower on the back that I did overhaul it once. I put new chains and sprockets and bearings and that kind of a thing. And it's a neat little blower. It's not quite as wide. I think the tire tracks with this, or the wheelbase with the spacers on back, are about 54 inches, so it's just a little narrow than the bucket. The bucket is 54 inches as well, and I've been plowing for years with that bucket right there, and I use the grapple, of course, to move logs and firewood, and it'll lift up 99% of all of the logs that I have in my yard. I don't have to worry about them too much. But I just upgraded. Spent a bunch of money I didn't really want to, but I should have bought this years ago. I've already used it once. This is a 66-inch, and this is a Horst Welding HLA 1000 snow blade. This is the perfect match for the front of my tractor. Now, it did come fixed with a manual adjustment, so I made it the obligatory trip to the Princess Auto store and bought a ram and had a couple of hoses made. And the very first time I used it, when the blade hinged back, this little fellow right here contacted here, broke that fitting right off, made a big mess of fluid. So back to Princess Auto, make me another hose, and I picked up some of these stroke limiters so that it can't come back far enough to break that off. But it has some little pads on each side so I can keep above the gravel in my driveway, and it has a cutting edge that's reversible. I can turn that cutting edge upside down, so that's a cool little rig. Still has the standard quick connect for John Deere, proprietary quick connect, same as the buckets and the grapples and the forks that I have. Matter of fact, I have a set of HLA forks for the front of my tractor, and I think they're only rated for, I think, 1,600 pounds, but that's way more than that tractor can lift anyway. That tractor's maxed out at 1,200 pounds without any attachments, so we're looking down to about 800 pounds, something like that. And that's a Frontier grapple, and like I say, that's what I use to load my firewood processor and logs on the mill and whatnot. I would buy another John Deere tractor. I don't know where I'd buy it. The dealer that I bought this from, I have a a less than stellar relationship with. And I'm not sure what it is about this dealership that doesn't seem to like my business. I can't get through to them, and it might be everybody, not just me, but the dealer I bought this tractor from, if I were to call them today for a part, they're 40 minutes away from here. Let me start again. They're 40 minutes away from here. It would be quicker and easier for me to get in my truck, drive there, buy the fluids and filters or part or whatever I need and drive home than it would be to call them and wait for a return call. They might be understaffed, I'm not sure. There's a young guy that works in the steel department there, Arthur. He is amazing. He knows the products he's talking about. He doesn't make stuff up. He's helpful. He's knowledgeable. He'll tell you where the part is, but you can't get a hold of anybody on a phone there. I've tried countless times. There was a recall that I had on this. If you've got a John Deere tractor, you probably got the same recall. It's a brake cam, and that brake bell crank, I think is what they called it. Big letter came last fall. Do not drive your tractor. Stop driving your tractor. So they told me that, yep, they're going to let me know when the part comes in. Well, they never let me know. Finally had to send a warning shot across their bow about what's going on. Where's these parts? Anyway, they came the next day. I think I emailed them on a Friday, and they came on a following Monday to install that bell crank. But anyway, it's things like that. So when I looked to buy that blade, I called the dealer I bought it from, and it took a while to get through to somebody. It took me, I would say, an hour of calling and not getting through to anybody, and then calling, and then finally got... Matter of fact, what I did is I called, instead of calling the parts department, service department, I called the sales department as if I was going to buy a new tractor, and then got a hold of somebody that way. And told him what I was looking for, and he said, we're closed now, or just about wrapped up for the day. I looked at my phone, it was 4:36 in the afternoon, they closed at 5. I said, if you have it, I'll come in the morning and get it. I just need a price for now. Anyway, he said, great, I'll let you know tomorrow. So I'm looking at my watch. You got lots of time to close this deal today. I've got money in my pocket to buy this blade. Anyway, the spite struck me. The next morning, I waited till 10 o'clock in the morning. No call back. And I called another John Deere dealer. Got a hold right away. Got a hold of the sales guy that sells the implements. And yes, sir, we have one of those right here on the shelf. He said, when would you like it? I said, I'll be there in an hour and 20 minutes, because it was an hour and 20 minutes away. I shut off my wood splitter. I jumped in my truck, my dog and I, and we drove to Middleton to the other John Deere dealer. And I know they're owned by the same company, but it just was so much easier transaction. 2 seconds, I went in, paid the man the money. They loaded on the back of the truck. I strapped it down. I was home. Shortly after 12 o'clock, I had it mounted to the front of my tractor. So anyway, so if you're looking at buying a tractor, the moral of the story is it's, to me, more important to vet the dealer than it is to vet the tractor. There's some cheap tractors out there, but I think if they're new, they're all going to be good. They're all going to be decent tractors. You won't likely have a whole lot of problems with any of them. I like John Deere. Now I'm into all of their infrastructure. You know, I have all the John Deere proprietary stuff. So my next tractor will likely be a John Deere. I don't know where I'd get it from or who I'd buy it from, but I don't know. I just find that company hard to deal with. And if they're too busy to return my call when I want to spend money, what's going to happen when I have a problem? So anyway, I think I yammered on. This was a themeless video, I would say. Bundled some firewood. Told you about my snow removal equipment. Got a plan to put that DC to DC charger in. That'll be the next video. I'm going to do that now. And from then on, we're just going to hunker down, get ready for the next storm. When I'm filming outside when it's cold, and today it's minus 14.2, I think it was, on the house when I came out a little while ago. And on the dash of my truck when I looked a little while ago, that said minus 17, so one of them can't be right. But I do most of my filming with an iPhone 14 Pro and an iPhone 16. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is right here. And I have the batteries, even in the new phones, they don't last as long as I need to. So I have 2 battery backups. This one here is an Asperix. This is a 10,000 milliamp hour. Simple, but it's got the dock on it, and magnetic, charges up, everything's great. Then we have this fellow here, which is a 15,000, and it's got the ubiquitous USB lightning port USB-C to USB-A, and it will charge my phone up in no time at all as well. This is also an Asperix product. These come in a pack of 2. I'll try to find a link for some of this stuff. I've been using these for months, more than that. I've been using this little fellow here. I had a long time. This one here I just got because if I want to go on my motorbike, I can put this in my tank bag. It can charge up while I'm driving, and then when I get to my campsite or get where I'm going, I can discharge it if I'm doing a video on camping or whatever. This has just 4 simple little lights. I don't know if you can see that, the angle it is, 4 simple little lights. Anyway, you get the point. And this one here actually measures the percentage, 100% it'll show there. So that, I like that display. I wish this battery here had that display, but other than that I have no complaints. They both work. They come in a 2-pack as well, so I have a pair of these, one for Mrs. Logfather and one for me. So anyway, that's the end of this commercial for this video. Thanks again for watching.